Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the NRG in Mundelein, Illinois Legacy Round 6. I am your host, Mason. My co-host, Dom Harvey, is on his way in, but the players just couldn't wait any longer. They had to play. So we're jumping right down to the feature match here. You have Roger Sulaiman, our reigning champion, on the right here. And on the left, Adam Lappin playing Cephalid Breakfast, one of the more interesting decks in Legacy right now. Recently won the Star City Games event last weekend. Rakdos Reanimator was Raj's weapon of choice this weekend and has been a staple of the format. We see a Faithless Looting Force of Willed by Adam here. It looks like both players did keep 7. Polluted Delta and a passing of the turn back to Raja. Raja's thinking, trying to figure out exactly what he wants to do here. Sort of often with these Reanimator decks, you can fight through one force pretty easily. It's the second piece of interaction that can really start to get a little tricky, but by no means is a game over. The Rakdos Reanimator deck is much stronger than people give it credit for. It's the second Faithless Looting here. It looks like Roger was deciding to play a land first. He had to play around the card Daze, a common staple of these things. And Roger, saw the Teferi Time Raveler, but isn't quite sure what could be coming over there. And looks like Adam's going to let it resolve as we're going to draw 2 and then discard 2 here. Banned and Modern allowed here in Legacy. Things got a little wild. Looks like Roger is tanking. And he must have a couple different big friends he wants to think about which one exactly is going to be the best here. Once again, Raja is not exactly sure what Adam is playing. And it looks like he's going to discard an Unmasked and I believe an Archon of Cruelty there. Looks like he is going to go for the fetch, maybe deciding if he needed to have Unmasked or not in order to protection. Sort of, the way to clear the way of a Force of Will is you use your own black Force of Will. Discard a card, take their force, call it a day. And Dom Harvey has joined me here in the booth. Dom, can you hear me? I can hear you, Dom. Yes, buddy. It's good to hear you. You hadn't missed very much here, but the players, they were too anxious to play, so they started playing. And so you know what? We started down with them here. And you only missed 1 turn. Roger tried to get cast Faithless and got forced. Now we're thought seizing Adam here on Cephalid Breakfast.
Well, Mason, let me tell you, when Reanimator is involved, 1 turn might be all you need. I might have come in here too late when we started running for game 2 over here. But yeah, Raja, first attempt at going off foiled, but the good thing about Reanimator is you can put all your chips in the middle turn 1. That fails, you have time to rebuild. The deck is consistent and resilient enough to do that. But facing off against another combo deck here in the hands of Adam Lappin on Cephalid Breakfast, a deck that can also kill you as early as turn 2, but can also fight a fair fight with cards like Force of Will, Orim, Chant. You see Stoneforge Mystic there, as you can find the Shuko as a combo piece. You can also find a Kaldra Compleat or whatever to get your beat down on as well.
100%. And yeah, interesting here. Adam decided to let the thought seize happen, to figured it was worth to develop the mana instead of using the Daze, maybe saving that Daze also for something like an Animate Dead in the later turns here. So Adam is going to draw for the turn and take a little think.
Yeah, it's always tough to know, do you go after... It's always tough to know, do you go after the looting, go after the Entomb effect, the thing that gets the creature in the graveyard, or do you fight over the reanimation effect? About the same kind of quantities of both, so it's tough to know what to do there.
Yeah, we're going to cast Ponder. It looks like Raja 2 lands and a Stoneforge Mystic. Interesting moment here from Adam. Clearly, Raja liked Stoneforge Mystic and was willing to take it, but does Adam like it enough to have at least 1 more land be the draw after this, where we're going to take the shuffle on Ponder? Always a tough decision here with the cantrips. So it looks like we are going to keep the Stoneforge Mystic with the 2 lands. And a pass back of the turn to Raja. Raja does have the Archon. Looks like Adam can do an upkeep fetch. And Adam is going to cast, Orim's Chant and not kick. So Raja is going to be unable to cast any spells this turn, meaning Adam's going to have a little bit of time to develop.
Yeah, and that's a temporary measure, if that. You're buying 1 turn of reprieve. So if Adam can use that turn effectively, untap, present a combo of his own, that play might win him the game. Otherwise, you're just delaying the inevitable, right? So it's a high upside card, but the floor there is pretty low as well.
Would you say Orim's Champ is tempo?
I might say that, but I would expect a lot of people to vigorously disagree with me there.
I love it. Nothing like vigorous disagreeing in Magic. A Stoneforge Mystic is the cast here, and that's going to get us to a shuffle, so we're not stuck with that 3rd land on top of our deck from that Ponder. And it looks like looks to me like Kaldra kind of a little hard to see with the stuff going on here, but got a weird little top to it. And that's either be Kaldra or Shuko, so, 50-50.
Remember when Batterskull was the best thing you could do with Stoneforge, and turn 2 Stoneforge into Batterskull was this feared play that would put them far ahead?
I remember it, and I loved it. Yes, it was a great time. Honestly, some matchups got worse when you got Kaldra. Losing the lifelink on Batterskull.
The Stoneforge there?
Yeah. I was the one against
there are people seeing me out their basic mountains and their Godwin Guy's legacy, and you kind of wish you had it back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I've ever seen Roger here take a think. He got a free little draw step last turn without having to do much thinking. Congratulations on Roger on that one. And it looks like he's going to play a Polluted Delta and fetch here. It looks like
basic swamp for Raja. We'll see if he has any kind of threat to present here, or if we're just going to flashback one of those loose things, try and dig for the next enabler.
Yeah. Always looking for an interesting decision point here. So it looks like Raja is talking to Adam, getting a little back and forth. You love to see the players having fun in the feature match area. Can't quite see the hands of the players. So
yeah, these two both seasoned veterans. Raja, of course. Raja won our championship at the end of last year, of course. And Adam Lappin, a name who, if you've played a lot of Legacy, you've played with or against him at some point, I'm sure.
100%. Raja is flashing back Faithless Looting here. And yeah, look, Adam is going to fire that Daze off. And looks like Raja's, going to go for the Unmask, discarding a Traxa from the hand. And it was Kaldra and 2 lands in the hand from Adam. And we're going to see, bam, Squire, attack for 1. Get your point in. Roger's going to untap. The pressure's on, Dom. Only 15 turns left to go. I'm glad someone left.
This is why you see over on Roger's side, there's some debate over in Reanimator, do you want to be mono black? Do you want the blue splash for cards like Show and Tell on the sideboard? You get Careful Study as an enabler. I think the reason why the red splash is so stock is in games like this where nothing's really happening, you get to flash those things, keep repairing and sifting through your cards, and eventually find a next threat, whereas the mono black list just kind of spin their tires, not really doing anything.
100%. As Raja did discard Entomb and Thoughtseize there. Looks like he's going to take a fetch and cast a spell. Had a little bit of respect there for Daze at the start of the turn, but, playing the land before resolving the looting. Something you probably wouldn't see from Raja if his opponent didn't have Daze in the deck. It looks like we're going to cast Reanimate. And it's looking like Adam said resolves, and Archon of Cruelty is going to come back into the battlefield. That is going to trigger. Adam's going to lose 3 life, discard a card, sacrifice a creature, and Raja's going to gain 3 life and draw a card. What is this if not Aurora and Croxa having a fusion dance together? Dom? A little wizard cycling here from Cephalid Breakfast. Little step through action. Cephalid Illusionist is the find. What a surprise. And that is sort of the strength of this Cephalid Breakfast deck. We are actually dangerously close to killing Raja despite everything that's happened in this game. Adam is, just a good top deck away from being in this game. As he draws a Ponder, going to cast it. Looks like we have some of the pieces there, but it's unclear if we can build through this Archon's attack trigger. And Adam seems to not, and he's going to go to the sideboards here. Adam going a close one there against Raja, but was unable to overcome the Archon of Cruelty, and really showed how much resiliency this Reanimator deck has, Dom, where its ability to fight through counter spells. Speaking of counter spells, let's look at Adam's sideboard here. Maybe you can tell me what he's going to bring in the old breakfast. We have 2 Hydroblast, 2 Force Negation, 2 Flusterstorm, 2 Surgical Extraction, 3 Prismatic Ending, and 4 Swords to the Plowshares. Dom, what do you think Adam wants to bring in against Reanimator here? I think you're a little muted there, Dom. Can't quite hear. Oh, nope, no Dom at the moment. Looks like his mic gave out for a second there. These sort of things happen. I'm no legacy expert like Dominic Harvey here, who crushed Magic Online in the old SCG tour when it came to legacy. But I'm going to guess Flusterstorm, Surgical Extraction, and Force Negation are all 3 cards that line up pretty well against what Roger's doing. Surgical Extraction seems pretty clear cut. Your opponent tries to return a creature from the graveyard. You target that creature, remove all the copies. Seems very good there. Flusterstorm's a good little protection spell, as is Force Negation. We saw here Adam will be tapping out in the early turns for things like Stoneforge Mystic or Cephalid Illusionist, and those are things that we can answer with these cards. Incredibly close there. 1 core off the top there, and Adam would have won, so you can see just how down to the wire it is, and you're okay having a little bit more of these force effects in that sort of scenario. Let's take a look over at Raja's sideboard real quick and see exactly what Raja has going on there. We have 4 Show and Tell, 3 Dauthi Voidwalker, 2 Serenity, 2 Wear Tear, 1 Surgical Extraction, Iona, and a Fairy Macabre. I'm going to be honest, chat. Oh, Dom's here. And unable to hear him, unfortunately, still. And I think here as immediately as we could there. I personally don't have a ton of experience playing against the Cephalid Breakfast deck myself, but I could imagine a card like Fairy Macabre pretty good. Dauthi Voidwalker also really good. You are a self-milling strategy, so getting Dauthi Voidwalker means we aren't going to be able to use the combo. And I think cards like Surgical Extraction don't often go the distance in this sort of matchup, but we might see Raja turn to it. It's going to be interesting to see the way he wants to approach this game plan here. And, speaking of approach, it's such a wild world we live in to see, 2 Grizzlebrands here in Reanimator, a card we never would have imagined less than 4 of, even just 6 months ago. Now relegated to a 2 of. Cards like Atraxa, Grand Unifier, have just done a great job of supplanting this, along with Archon of Cruelty and Sarah's Emissary and just other tech little choices. Looks like,
yeah, it certainly is a sign of the times. And you mentioned Fairy Macabre as a card which can interact with Adam Lappin's combo. Notably, can do that even through a card like Orim's Chant. As an activated ability, you can just discard it from the hand. So you never quite know if it's there, and the threat of that is going to be looming over the game at all times. If Adam is even aware that that's a factor here, because we do have closed deck lists for the special portion of the tournament. So if Adam tries to fire, we could see Raja right back at him.
100%, yeah. It's going to happen there. And then, we have the rare instance, Dom, if we mulligan a bunch and we Fairy Macabre and then reanimate it. Wham, bam. Get it done any way you can. Not likely to happen, but, it's on my bingo sheet for this weekend.
I love those scrappy games against a Leyline in the Void where they Leyline you. You can't reanimate anything of yours, but you Thoughtseize them, you see what's up, and then you take that Knight of the Reliquary, you take that Stoneforge Mystic or something, and you get busy.
Heck yeah. As we are going to see Raja here finishing shuffling up. Yeah, the scrappy games are some of the most fun ones, and I feel like Legacy leads to a lot of scrappy games. A lot of cheap interaction, a lot of powerful interaction, which leads to a lot of games where players aren't doing their thing uninterrupted. It's not like Pioneer. We have very strong answers, and it's actually very hard to consistently expect to do your thing all 3 games in this format against anyone who has packing hate for you.
Yeah, you think about this Reanimator deck, it's turn 1 Grizzlebrand, turn 1 Archer of Cruelty, right? In most formats, that would be completely busted. But in Legacy, you do actually have the defensive tools against that. You have Force of Will, Force Negation. You have Endurance now, really pivotal card from Modern Horizons 2. You have all of your Surgicals and your Leylines and so on. So the tools are there to fight it, but the deck is powerful enough that you can still plow through that a lot of the time. And Raja has done that in 5 rounds and counting so far.
Mm-hmm. Dom, I have a feeling that Reanimator is probably underplayed in paper. What are your thoughts on that, as Adam is going to go to 6 heroes? Raja is still deciding whether he wants to keep his 7 or not.
pretty accessible, budget friendly in terms of legacy decks. Just shove and win a lot of your games. So if you're looking for a legacy deck for a tournament like this, if you mainly play Modern or Pioneer, this is a great one to pick up. At the same time, there are people who you see on Magic Online, they just play this deck all the time and they win with it all the time. And that suggests there is some kind of skill edge to be gained there too.
Yeah. That's something I've been thinking about a lot recently, you know, especially in the context of mono green, a deck. I know you used to qualify for the Pro Tour. Congratulations at the regional RC in Canada. You know, a lot of players do not like playing with mono green, and so they just do not play it. And I think, you know, it's often looked maybe down on as super easy or whatever, where, you know, if you want to beat it, you can. But there's a lot of skill to be gained in these sort of decks, and I think players are really quick to sort of write them off. And when they're hands of incredibly strong players like Raja Sulaiman here, they can really go the distance and run the tables.
Yeah, and one of those big skill testing moments is right here before the game even starts. Is you know, sometimes you open your 7, it's the nuts, you love to see it. Sometimes it's kind of on the borderline, and knowing how to weigh up those marginal hands, whether to keep them, whether to send them back, is one of the skills you have to develop here.
And we're going to see a Tundra and a passing on the turn here from Adam. No turn 1 play. Raja tanking. Looks like he wants to make sure whether, you know, he wants to fight into a Daze, whether how he wants to sequence a Thought Seeds before looting, or an Unmask, or a Grief. A lot of choices here when you can cast almost all your spells in turn 1. We're going to see Grief pitching Archon of Cruelty for Raja after playing the Swamp. And it looks like Adam is going to respond with a Brainstorm, try and hide some of his good cards, or maybe find an answer to the Grief.
And Grief's so perfect in this deck too, where that can be your reanimation target, right? If you want to play a little bit of a fairer game, you grief them once, you bring it back, you grief them again. You don't need to jump through these hoops necessarily to find the Archon or the Grizzlebrand. The Grief just puts itself right there.
100%. Honestly, you know, with Raja's Dothi Voidwalkers in the sideboard, Dom, it looks dangerously close to the Rakdos midrange deck that we saw in the final tournament. Old Scam here, you know, doubled Grief turn 1. It's a powerful effect in any format. And it looks like Adam is still resolving this Brainstorm, one of the hardest cards to resolve in Magic. If you love Legacy, you're used to seeing this happen.
Yeah, I've seen some Reanimator pilots talk about Orcish Bowmasters from the new set as well as another one of these cards, which you can just board that in, have it be this really good fair card, and then if they kill it once, well, you have 12 reanimation effects in your deck. You just buy it right back and go again.
Not the worst idea I've ever heard. It sounds kind of strong. As Adam is going to be thinking here. A lot of tough choices. I'm going to be curious to see what cards Adam lets us see. You know, Adam is really in charge of what Raja has the potential to take, and that's why this taking, you know, a little bit longer than normal. Brainstorm is an incredibly hard card to resolve, let alone resolve well, let alone in the face of a discard spell. As we have picked our 2 cards, and we are going to let that resolve. As our hand is Double Force, Narcomoeba, Urza Saga, and Scalding Tarn. Interesting.
All right. Well, I figured out which blue card we're going to pitch to the Force of Will. Don't think we're going to get to keep both forces, but Raja knows he's going to have to be at least 1 copy this game.
Yeah. And you know, this deck does come prepared for this. Yeah, incredibly strange hand here. I wonder what Adam has on top. There might be something, you know, like a Cephalid Illusionist, and this is, you know, maybe a combo hand rolled up with just a couple turns to wait for that with Force backup. But Raja's tanking. I wonder if he's thinking, can I get Adam to use this forcible this turn? Because, you know, if Raja takes Force and then does something that is forcible here, Adam is going to be in a real pickle. As, yeah, he ultimately did end up taking the Force of Will. It turns out Narcomoeba was not worth the card selection. I'm going to trust Raja on that. You know, he is our champion. Personally, it is a 1-1, 20-turn clock, but, you know, he's in the driver's seat, not me.
Adam might also think if he has something like a surgical extraction, you could hide that on top, thinking, I have a line of defense for this turn. Raja probably can't reanimate through that. So if I tuck that away, I can kind of conceal that as hidden information and have that ready to go when the time comes.
Great point. Raja tanking here. Wonder if Raja brought in his surgicals, Dom. Pop, hit the Force of Will. He is tanking pretty hard.
It's meant to win in every single matchup all the time.
Yeah, well, it just gets their best card. Yeah. What is Surgical Extraction, Dom, if not Terminate for 0 mana? ×3. As we're going to see Unmask cast, getting rid of another Archon of Cruelty. It looks like Raja's trying to set something up, and Adam's like, yeah, I'm not going to force this. You can just take my force. As Raja is going to reanimate the Grief, and the Narcomoeba does go down this turn, and nothing is safe here, as Raja is going to go to 16 with this Grief on the battlefield. That's right. We are in round 6 of 8 today with the entire top 8 here. Dom and I are going to be bringing this all the way to you, as Stoneforge Mystic was the card Adam hid. So Adam got to do a little bit of a shuffle away there too with his Brainstorm. Kind of nice, as we are going to get the Shuko in hand. Or Shuko, Shuki. Do the twisty, I believe is the pronunciation.
Not to be confused with Shuriken, another iconic equipment from that same block.
True. Incredible on Magic Arena for a couple days, as we do Thoughtseize down the Shiriki and then attack for 3.
Did actually see Shuriken in Legacy in one of these Ninja decks back in the day. Not sure it was even right to play in that deck, but respect the choice there at least.
Theme, if nothing else, is Scalding Tarn for the turn here. Both players sort of knocking each other down. I believe Adam is a little bit lower. Yeah, there he goes. Raja switched over to Black-Red Delver here. Discarded, ripped Adam's stuff apart, and now hitting with a 3-power hard-to-block creature. As Urza Saga, though, is going to do its thing. Make a construct, and if nothing else, these constructs that Adam has the ability to make on this turn and at the beginning of his main phase will mean we can block the Grief, which means it will not be going the distance like it might in some other situations. Adam comes prepared with the official construct token. Love that. Adam's going to tick up and tank real quick. Always want to be sure you're making the right decision. It's probably going to be an Urza Saga moment, but you might draw something that changes your mind. So the construct enters the battlefield. And Retrofitter Foundry going to be popped up here. Not a good sign if you're a Roger Sulaiman fan.
No, and you're seeing Saga do exactly what it's done for the past 2 years of when the game gets to this point, both players have traded off resources, nothing's going on. The player who has a Saga left over, well, they have 2 big threats and they have some utility card of their choice. The Retrofitter Foundry, they're going to keep churning out more tokens, make this constructs grow one half of your combo at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like Adam's taking the thing here. Looks like we are going to slam in for 3, representing even more with the Retrofitter Foundry in play. Yeah, Raja can take a second to double check it. Raja, a veteran of the game and our series here. He definitely knows that, but always take a second to double check. Because we are going to make a servo, and Raja's going to fall to 9. He's going to need something sooner than later. Otherwise, this fair beatdown plan is going to sort of go the distance. Despite Raja, essentially defeating the forces and getting to do the thing, it just wasn't quite as strong as normal. And so that's why you're seeing him fall behind a bit, as Dark Ritual is the play. And this is the card that can make something big happen. 3 mana for Raja is no joke, as we are going to see a force pitching Cephalid Illusionist. And Raja's going to pick the cards up there. We're going to have a game number 3 here, Dom.
Yeah, you'd love to see that. So we'll go back and check the sideboards here for both players, see how they want to readjust given what they saw there. Interestingly, Adam was kind of close to comboing at certain points, but Raja had the disruption, he had the threats, and Adam just kind of shrugged that off and just run with the Saga plan. So you don't want to be overly targeting the combo aspect of Adam's deck, because the nice thing about this flexible combo control deck is you have these other things going on.
100%. Looking here, I don't think we saw anything that's going to change us up from Raja's side, unless you have any ideas, Dom, after seeing that game play out.
Yeah, you could try the Voidwalkers, a nice threat in the face of Adam's hate, and also a hate card of its own for Adam's combo. Not sure how much of that you can afford to have versus how focused you want to be on your plan A. And this Reanimator deck is a dedicated combo deck, right? You are trying to do the thing and do the same thing kind of every single game. Adam's deck is combo control. You have the combo, you have other stuff going on. So even if all of your illusionists are out of commission for some reason, they kill your Shuko, kill your Nomads, you have other stuff you can do. So Adam can afford to bring in a little bit more hate, I think. I think Raja just wants to do his plan. That's what his deck is built to do. That's what it's good at. And hopefully with Raja back on the play, he can stitch that together.
100%. As for Adam's side, we can take a look over here again. Does anything strike you that he might bring in after seeing the ways that game 1 and 2 played out?
So you've got the Flusterstorms, you've got Force of Negation, Surgical Extraction, lots of good ways to stop a fast combo. Source of Plowshares is an interesting one, right? Because if Raja is able to sneak something into play, you do want to have an answer to it. But if that thing is a Grizzlebrand that's drawing 7 or 14 cards, well, that Source of Plowshares might be too little too late. So not actually a reliable reactive card, but maybe you want some of them in small numbers.
Makes sense to me. And what else makes sense to me, Dom, is if you're having fun to click that follow button here on Twitch, and also to get ready to come out to some of our events, as we do have some events coming up here. Our next one is in St. Louis. We can get that thrown up on screen here for you. That's going to be July 7th through the 8th. 8th or the 9th. Dang, I had our head down from memory there. But it's going to be the Saturday team showdown there. It's Modern, Pioneer, Legacy. So if you love Legacy, we love you here on the NRG series. We have it today. We're having it on Sunday as well with our 5K trial. Remember, if you win the team showdown, you and your 2 friends will be going to our end of the year championship where you get to play against Roger Sulaiman and many others who qualified, like Matthew Hoey earlier today on our Modern 10K showdown. Our next event after this one is going to be in Detroit on August 12th through the 13th. It's going to be a Modern 10K showdown on Saturday and a 5K Pioneer trial on Sunday. It's going to be really fun. Once again, if you win one of these things, the showdowns, you go straight to the finals there, and you get an Inkling custom token and all those cool points involved. Our last event, though, on our little slideshow right now is Indianapolis, October 14th through the 15th. It's a 10K Pioneer showdown and a Sunday team trial 10K again. That's right. We're having another team event in October in Indianapolis. Indianapolis, a great town to go play Magic in. And with the team event, going to have so much fun. Once again, Modern, Pioneer, and Legacy. So, Dom, it sounds like, you and I, we're 2/3 of a team right here. We just got to pick up the third from the commentary booth, and we're in the streets battling.
I'll let you pick your third there, pick your poison. You can put me whatever format you want. I'm going to have a good time.
I love it. Yeah, I'm going to take Modern, so we just got to find someone who wants to play Pioneer. Maybe we can get Misplaced Ginger. Lord knows he's played enough Rakdos games to just do it in his sleep, You just pick him up on the way down from Canada.
Getting Ginger in the commentary booth might be a trip in its own right, but hey, Julian's been commentating some Pioneer yesterday, getting his reps in there, so we could draft him in for that maybe.
I tried yesterday. He didn't seem excited about flying from Africa over for here, but we do have a couple months to wear him down, Dom, so I like that idea there, as the players are still sideboarding here. Glad to see you in the booth. But yeah, no, I mean, it's a lot of fun here in the NRG series. You see players hanging out in the background there. A lot of our named players, some of them didn't even play today. They didn't have legacy decks. They just came to hang out and, jam like the Moto showcase in the background there, like Connor Laley, our player of the year.
Yeah, some people even attempting the famed double queue where you play the main event, maybe doesn't go so well, 1-2 drop, but there's a showcase in an hour or two. So you still have a way to chase that redemption.
Yes, and a lot of fun here on the NRG series. Let's see, though. I think the players are still shuffling up. Dom, what is your favorite Legacy deck right now? You and I didn't get to talk much about Legacy before jumping down the future match area. I know you've been someone to peruse in this format. Where's your sort of head at as your favorite deck and the deck maybe to beat?
So I have been officially corrupted by the One Ring, as so many people have. And there is a shell that fits into very naturally in Legacy, this Mystic Forge style combo deck where you've had all of this fast artifact mana. You've got your Mox Opals, Lotus Petals, and so on. You've got Ancient Tomb, City of Traders. So you're casting that One Ring on turn 1, turn 2 pretty reliably. And then you have these Manifold Keys, Voltaic Keys to untap that thing, just tear through your deck, Paradox Engine to fully go infinite. So you take a lot of game actions, and that is my favorite thing to do.
Game actions are better than winning, as the players are down here finishing resolving their mulligans. I love to hear that. I'm wondering, Twitch chat, what is your favorite Legacy deck? What are the one you're hoping to see here? We still have 2 more rounds of Swiss after this. I know it seems crazy with how much Magic we brought you today at the beginning of the day with our Modern semis and finals going on, but we still have 5 more rounds after this one of Magic for you, including our entire top 8 today.
Yeah, Matt Hurry putting on a dominant run in that Modern Showdown. Not live for the full Steven Dykeman going back-to-back, I think, but still a good weekend at the office, regardless of how Legacy goes for him.
100%. If he had played Rhinos in both events, he would have done the back-to-back with the same archetype.
Yeah, and Rhinos actually is a legitimate Legacy deck right now. It's kind of burst onto the scene over the past few weeks. In Legacy, you get Force of Will alongside Force of Negation. You get Elvish Spirit Guide and Simian Spirit Guide that was axed from Modern a few years ago. So yeah, you can Cascade on turn 2, back that up with all of the free interaction in the world and ride those Rhinos across the finish line.
I love it. It looks like Raja is figured out how he wants to play his turn. One thing I really love from a lot of our players here on the NRG series that you see dominating so much like Raja is they'll think through their entire turn and then start doing the play and really plan out, and they don't end up in any sort of awkward spots, and they'll readjust as more information comes along, but they want to make sure they're doing what they want to do. When you have access to your whole hand on turn 1, it's important to map out those turns.
And that's the thing about Legacy is the cards are all cheap. Some of them literally cost so mana that even though you would think, well, it's the start of the game, you're not just playing your Triumph tapped or something. You do actually have a lot to think through.
100%. As Raja does cast Faithless Looting here, Adam's going to take a think. Even if Adam doesn't have Force of Will, it is in Adam's best interest to at least take a second and feign having Force of Will. As it looks like he is going to Force of Negation.
Yeah, and Force of Negation, crucially, going to exile the Faithless Looting, so not going to see that one come back for a second go later on. At some point, the jig is up. The bluff doesn't work anymore. Do I want to let this reanimate on the Archon? Well, probably not. So the bluff only goes for so long here, but and if not, Adam might have all the time in the world to get his thing going.
100%. As Adam's going to take a draw here for a turn. Play a Tundra and cast. I think it's Nomads en-Kor is the name. Am I right?
Sure is.
Oh my god! All right,
you are part of the. Not going to say iconic, but it is a cycle that exists from back in the day. And their theme, what this tribe likes to do, is pay 0 mana to redirect damage, which it turns out if you really need a way to target something for free, it's like this weird backdoor combo piece that you wouldn't have expected.
100%. Yeah, and Nomads en-Kor, definitely one of the cycles of all time, as we are going to see Raja here lead on a Grief to start this turn, discarding a Traxa again. One day I swear that thing went into the battlefield for Raja, but for now it seems to be great Grief bait as it's just Force of Will and 3 lands. Notably, one is Urza Saga here from Adam.
Yeah, the encores, there was actually an encore in Time Spiral, I believe, as part of the nostalgia kick for that block. The problem there is, not sure who was really asking for another encore outside of, I guess, exactly Adam Lappin.
Yeah, someone on the set team, maybe it was Mara himself, as Raja is going, knows the coast is clear, so he gets to do whatever he wants this turn. And it looks like Raja's going to start with Dark Ritual and Tomb. Gets to put any creature he wants into the graveyard.
And we mentioned Grizzlebrand, not the default creature of choice in every situation anymore. I think we're still going to see it in this one. I think Raja has a lot of life to play with, could really use draws towards another Grief, another Unmask, or even, if he is able to find a Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, and so on, we might get another creature alongside the Grizzlebrand before this turn is said and done. Yeah,
we're going to see Exhume here. Adam doesn't have a creature to bring back. Unlucky, really, when you think about it, as Raja's immediately going to pay 7 life, draw 7 cards, as Grizzlebrand, the goat of creatures, is in play. Raja has 1 card that was in his hand just laid on the table. Makes me think it's a land. Raja doesn't even care. He's like, yeah, this one's doesn't matter what else I draw. And he's like, you know what? 7 more cards, down to 5 for Raja. Lava Axe has never looked so good. Raja has so many options here. Did find the Lotus Petal. If we cast Reanimate, we're down to 1 life. So that is going to be, a risky proposition. Might just be seeing Raja play it so he doesn't have to move to discard with it. And he is going to pop the Lotus Petal. Double looks like a moment of indecisiveness here from Raja. He's going to cast Faithless Looting. Just had not seen enough cards yet, Dom. So we really need to figure out what's going on. As we draw 2, and we have to discard 2. And this might take a second. You know, Raja's got, I believe, 17 options in hand. So, you know, a little bit more than your average Faithless Looting. Looks like Raja just double checking. And this is one of those spots where you want to make sure you don't really lose. You know, Raja might be trying to find some way to interact with Adam's combo because, you know, if Adam draws the Cephalid Illusionist, the game is over as we're going to discard 2 Polluted Deltas.
It would be quite something if Raja got Grizzlebrand into play, drew 14 cards, and then just died to the perfect top deck from Adam Lappin. But if one of those many cards is the Fairy card.
Mm-hmm. That would, yeah, Fairy card would be very good here. This turn, I forgot, this was turn 2. As Raja seems a little overwhelmed. I think his 14 cards are not good. That is not the face of a man that feels confident. And Raja, you know, very capable player, someone we've seen dominate on our series in every format.
Yeah, the nice thing about Grizzlebrand is this one is sticking around. There's no Goryo's Vengeance, Shadow Grave style clause exiling it at the end. So if Raja gets one tap, well, Grizzlebrand attacks, we get a fresh 7. Could probably find something that we're missing at that point. But yeah, the game that seemed like it was definitively over is probably still over realistically. But I'm saying there's a chance, Jason.
Yeah, Dom, I'm curious. I'm not trying to, you know, judge or backseat Raja here, but I really thought Archon had a real shot at coming down just to prevent any sort of shenanigans. You know, is this just Raja getting incredibly unlucky that, you know, we even have a chance to lose here? Or is this just, you know, the nature of the beast when it comes to Cephalid breakfast?
There is you get the Archon, you eat Nomads, and that's fine. And if you don't have another way to get a creature or any other card around, and just
100% fair point, Dom. Urza Saga is the play here from Adam. And it looks like Narcomoeba. Time to rumble. As we are going to see. And just draw 7 more cards once again. And Raja looking, you know, make sure he can't lose to anything here. Faithless Looting is the cast. As we did have just over 200 people in this tournament.
Yeah, not quite the 300 and something, the full house that we had for Modern yesterday. Great turnout here for the legacy format where it is less accessible than some and maybe more daunting to get into just in terms of the gameplay as well. But a lot of people for whom legacy is their favorite format. I'm here today to play some legacy because you don't get that many chances to do that in paper these days, and so you'll take every big legacy tournament you can get.
100%. And if you love legacy, or a quick reminder here, July 8th through the 9th, we are going to be in St. Louis, team event and then a legacy 5K trial. So even if you don't have any friends that want to drive out to that, you could just do the 5K of legacy like we have going on here today. There will be a packed house. As Faithless Looting is going to be flashback, draw 2. I feel like Raja is looking for some specific card, but he just cannot find that card. As Atraxa is going to be the first discard here from the Faithless Looting. And Wear Tear is going to be cast on the Urza Saga. That's going to help to be a little sinkhole variant. And, you know, we know Adam has a land in hand still from turn 1, but if somehow Adam is able to answer the Grizzlebrand, that could be important. As Raja is going to discard here, used all the cards that he could.
Yeah, you would think it's a good problem to have if you're discarding down to hand size in your hand of 15 cards. But with this Reanimator deck, you're trying to do a specific thing, and it kind of doesn't matter how many cards you have if they don't work towards that exact goal.
100%. And you know, we have so few cards that do matter, as we are going to see, you know, just a land and pass and turn from Adam back to Raja. Raja attacks the Grizzlebrand, gains 7 life. I think we might see something. Yeah, Raja's going to draw 7 cards again. I'm really surprised that we're still looking for something. I guess like very macabre type cards, like we mentioned before, just, you know, to try and prevent Adam here. Adam having a great time as Grief is going to get evoked here. But Adam, once again, if Raja doesn't have the right cards, can win off the top. As we are going to see Faithless Looting here. As Iona and Archon of Cruelty are going to go to the graveyards. We're going to see Dark Ritual and probably maybe an Exhume or Animate Dead card type here. As looks like that is what Raja has been looking for this whole time.
Yeah, don't want to reanimate there. Don't want to take 9, kill yourself, bringing back Iona. But
it looks like
if we can get Iona into play, that will officially lock up the game here. I assume naming blue, but really could name black.
Yeah, it's one of those spots where, you know, Raja just needs to name one of the colors that's actually in Adam's deck, you know, white or blue or black. They all sort of work here. Blue probably being the best one. As we are going to see Raja end up exhuming first and putting Archon of Cruelty into play. Going to sacrifice the Narcomoeba and discard a card. And then we're going to see Raja do his thing. It looks like he's 10. You know, chat, I'm trying to figure out exactly what Raja's doing. I'm just trying to play-by-play Raja's thing, but Raja's just, it feels like just making sure there's no chance anything can go wrong and just quadruple checking, which is understandable. You know, at 6-0, Raja is probably a virtual soft lock for our top 8. And Raja, you know, while already qualified for our end of the year event, is probably very interested in, you know, getting some extra cash, getting some points, and maybe making a run at our player of the year. You know, Raja won our championship, but didn't win player of the year, still at large. And, you know, he's had a fine year so far, nothing spectacular, but it all starts with the first top 8. And it looks like, yeah, it looks like Raja was just looking for his last Archon, down to 1 life, as we are going to see Dark Ritual, Unmask, probably target ourselves, discard the Archon of Cruelty, cast Exhume, and that's going to be game as Adam extends the hand. Congratulations to Raja, moving on to 6-0, and that's going to lock Raja, as if not for top 8, 100%, in a very, very good position to be there over the next 2 rounds. So congratulations there to Raja, Sulaiman, and Dom. I think we're going to check to see what's going on exactly, whether we're going to interview with Raja or we're going to do our backup match. I know we have one of those going on. No interview, no backup. It looks like we're just going to actually take a break here. The round is just about finished. We actually started our round a little bit later because we have some future match stuff. That thing happens, and that game took a little long. So, chat, we're going to have a bunch more Magic for you here today. Don't miss anything. Click that follow button real quick. That way you don't miss any of the action. And we'll be back in just about 5 minutes.